Hi, and welcome back to Someone Needs to Say It TV. I'm Emily here with Alex, and today we're going to be talking about the government shutdown and how that's related to the SNAP food benefits people are going to be losing in the month of November. What does this mean, Alex? What does this mean for our country?
Well, there's a lot that goes into it that I don't think everybody really understands. So, not necessarily all of the SNAP benefits could or will go away. With the government being shut down right now, the federal side of it, the federal funding for the SNAP programs, that's on basically on pause right now until the government is open again. However, states can cover down on those benefits and ensure that that money still goes out to those people that are the beneficiaries. So it's not necessarily that everybody's going to lose it, but they could, especially if the state that they live in doesn't or aren't planning on paying those benefits out until things get resolved. So that's first things first. Secondly, if there's more to the actual people that are going to, even if the government opens back up and they do give those benefits out, there's going to, I think some people are confused about the people that are going to be affected even at that point. So the work requirements, I don't know if you heard, I'm sure you have, those things that people were not so happy about, some people weren't so happy about, that stuff will take place on November 1st. The requirements for them to work a certain amount of hours or community service for a certain amount of hours.
So people on these benefits, there's a new work requirement going on?
Yes, yeah. So
Tell me about that. What's going on with that?
So the way that works is, I believe it's 20 hours a week. I'm pretty sure that I'm 99% sure that that's the amount that they came up with. So if you are receiving benefits, you either have to work 20 hours a week to continue receiving those benefits, or volunteer community service to continue. And I think that community service, I think, is like 15% or 15 hours, but don't quote me on those, but it's somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So even if let's say they government comes back on, they do pay out these benefits, there's still going to be some people that are going to be affected by the work requirements in order to maintain those benefits.
And is this starting in November, or?
Yeah, starting November 1st, those work requirements or service hour requirements are going to be in place. Yes.
Wow. How do you think people are going to react to that?
Well, I mean, I've seen quite a few different reactions. Some people are not so happy about it, mainly on the people receiving benefits. But then on the other side of it, the other part of America that aren't on the receiving benefits seem to think that makes some sense, like that
Yeah,
you should have to
I can see that.
I mean, we all have to be big boys and big girls, and at the end of the day, is it fair for someone to not have to do anything to be able to receive hundreds? And I mean, I know how much my grocery bill is to feed my kids, and I'm sure you can level with that as well. So it's hard out here for everybody, and I mean, I think that's not an unreasonable request for people that are receiving benefits to do some type of work hours. But however, from what I've heard in the past, and I haven't ever been a recipient of it, so this is my limited take, so please don't take it as gospel. But a lot of times, from what I've heard, is that if you work these hours, then they end up cutting back on the amount of funds that you can receive. So it's kind of like, if I do try to do better to better myself and go and earn these other money so I can make my own money, and I have to receive this, well, then they take that money from me. So it's like kind of a double-edged sword, so that I think that incentivizes people to not want to go and gain additional employment, because if you make too much money, well, then you don't qualify for the benefits. And so then now I have to go and work outside of the house, find childcare, all those other things that come with you having to go and do that work requirement or community service requirement. And ultimately, once the dust settles, you might actually end up losing out by actually doing those things. Versus, I think that
Yeah,
it
I
should be
can
like,
see
hey,
that.
go work these. If we're going to mandate that you have a work requirement, we're not going to penalize you for going and doing that part.
Yeah,
That should be
that
it.
shouldn't have any
No,
relation
it
to
should.
it.
I think that they should use that as like an extra incentive to help people
Yeah.
instead of knocking them for working hours and gaining that extra money from those 20 hours of a week of work. I think
Is
that,
it just work or is it like community service
well,
too?
so it's like both those options. So you can either
Okay.
go work 20 hours or you work 15 or 20 hours of community service. But instead of them take, oh, okay, well, you work those 20 hours and now you got this extra money. Well, we're going to take benefits from you. I don't think that they should do
And
that.
these are for
I
the
think
able-bodied, right? Not like
able-bodied, yes. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
elderly or the children,
Correct.
obviously they
Correct.
can't do that.
Correct.
Okay.
Or if you have a disability or whatever, something like that. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
not for everybody, but yeah.
Okay, what do you think about like the items these people purchase? Do you think with, how unhealthy America is with
Right.
diabetes and all these health conditions that are food related, do you think the government should have some type of say in what they purchase?
I personally do.
Yeah.
If you talk to any old timers that were around when they had the government cheese, you hear about that from back in the day. The
Okay.
government cheese, the government rice, those things. So they used to have certain items that you could go to as it was the food stamp program. Well,
Okay.
you had these basically ration cards, and that was what you could go in exchange for these government cheese and government
Why did they
those
take that
things.
away?
Because basically the argument was that it was dehumanizing. It's like, oh well, you have to go there and get the substandard food items, and so plus it was also once they did the numbers, it was actually a huge capital expenditure for the government to source these things, and things go to waste, things don't get used, whatever. But it was also harder for people to, like, let's say you have a disability, how can you go to this location to pick up those items?
Yeah.
And what if you need other food items other than those things, especially with kids and things like that, to make sure they have the right nutritional value or in their meals and stuff. I think that it was a good thing to move away from that, because anytime the government gets their hands in the specific items that you're procuring to give to people, it always ends up in a huge. The government normally isn't very good about cost savings and doing things smart. It's normally ends up with a
Yeah.
huge bill, and it's very inefficient, and it doesn't necessarily help people in the way that it was designed to help. So I was a fan of them going to the EBT cards or the SNAP cards or whatever. However, I think that there should be some realistic limitations
Like
on what
diet
people.
restrictions.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Just
should
to
you be able to
get
buy
people to eat
soda?
healthier.
Right, exactly. So we should be incentivizing that, and not just saying, "Oh, well, you can't. You can only buy vegetables and fruits." I don't think that's the right
Well,
answer.
it's like what they did
But,
for the
like,
school lunches. They
right,
made them more
they
healthy.
yeah,
So
and
why
I think
can't they
that's a
do
good
that for
thing.
the SNAP and EBT cards?
Right. Well, yeah, I think that there should be limited. I don't think that you should be able to go and buy cases of Coca-Cola,
No,
soft drinks. I mean, as a kid, we couldn't afford to have soft drinks.
no,
We
I
didn't
didn't have
have. I mean,
any.
unless you went to Aldi and bought some 12-cent sodas, and we
I
would.
grew up with no soda
There was no sodas in the house ever.
or
That,
pop.
like, I didn't even
What we
know what
called
that.
it.
That wasn't even an option. We had milk, juice, water. That
Yeah,
was it.
that was it.
That was the options. So that was what it was. We never. I grew up
I
not
still,
even having that
still
as
to
an
this
option.
day, I do
don't even
not
buy
drink
it.
soda.
I don't.
drink
I don't
it.
buy it.
I never drank it. I never became a fan of it. So I
Right.
just,
And I think that, I mean, and those
I don't
those
even
type
buy it
of
for my
things,
family.
right? And well, I don't really want my kids to be drinking sodas like that, with the knowing how much the sugars are, and high fructose corn syrup and blah 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 blah. Those aren't
Yeah.
really healthy choices. So if we are providing benefits to try, and the whole purpose, from my understanding of SNAP benefits, is to provide food for families,
Nutritious.
nutritious food for families. So
Yeah.
that kind of goes against the whole premise of why the program's in place, and that's so that we can make sure that the nutritional value is passed on to the people that need that help and assistance. But also, you can do things like limitations on snacks and things like that, because if you're just going in there and buying bags and bags and bags of
That's not healthy.
potato chips,
And
that's not a healthy choice.
yeah.
And I'm not saying that you can't have any but I don't think that it's right to just be doing nothing but loading up on
Don't
junk foods. I think that there should be a limitation about the amount of, but I'm also not trying to say, oh, you can't ever have anything nice
Yeah.
or a treat for yourself, whatever. So I mean, I would just like to see a realistic concept that people put together a committee of people, not just bureaucrats, but parents or
Yeah.
people, and
Come
somehow
together.
devise a council and put some Americans,
Yeah, because I
not
mean,
not just senators or representatives,
yeah.
but real people, and say, hey, let's talk, and then also have some doctors, nutritionists on that panel, and let's come up with realistic things that ways to ensure that we're providing the things that we're supposed to be providing.
Yeah.
But then also, I know you've seen the videos where guys go in there, guys or gals, whatever, go in there and they load up on crab legs and filet mignon and
Oh
all
my
that stuff. And
God.
like,
Yeah.
as a kid, I didn't know the only steak that I ever heard of was Salisbury steak,
Yeah. Right?
Salisbury steak and cube
Same here.
steak. And come to find out as an adult, those aren't really what you would call steaks. That's more like
No.
diced meat or smashed up meat. Loved it as a kid, but that's all I knew.
I
I'd never
agree.
heard of
I
a
feel like,
sirloin or a T-bone or anything
yeah.
like that until I became an adult.
No, same
So,
here. I don't. I feel like there should be more restrictions on these
yeah,
SNAP food benefits,
yeah,
just
I
to
do. Some
better Americans' health.
better
It'll,
Americans' health,
if you look at the
and make
domino
sure that they're
effect.
spending it the right way.
Yeah, and with the domino effect, it'll fall into health insurance. It'll help,
It'll
with the
benefit those
overall
things,
health
yeah.
and everything.
If you're
Just like in mothers too, with
for
having
sure.
babies and not doing abortions, doing away with that. It'll benefit the mothers and the children.
I agree.
That
And if we're going to promote that, and we're going to promote and say, hey, we want to try to stop as many abortions from happening. If we're going to encourage people to have
exactly.
kids, I think that, and we have these programs in place, I think that we should be making steps to ensure that we're providing those things for those mothers. If we're going to
Yeah.
encourage people to have babies, I think it's on us as a country to ensure that the people that we're encouraging to have kids have
Yeah.
the means and the
Because
things
it's
that
not
they
like you
need.
just have a kid and then
That's
that's it.
Yeah,
There's
no.
no. You got to look
No.
at the
So if you're
the
gonna
foster care system. You got to look at
yeah,
all of these things that play
child care, and
into
all
it.
those things, like we
Yeah,
need a
it's
broad and I hope here soon when we do an episode coming up that we can talk about those things. But I definitely think that we need to
yeah,
a full picture, and that's why I was going back to that council thing, to like, how can we not only provide for everyone that's in need of the SNAP benefits.
yeah. 1 in 8 Americans.
But then also, like, let's not forget about the mothers that we're encouraging to have babies, and let's make sure that we set this
Yes.
aside so that they have the stuff that they need to raise those kids that we
Yeah.
encourage them to have. That's, if we're going to put them in that position where we're encouraging it to happen, I think that's on us to help make sure that they have the things that they need
Absolutely.
to
You nailed it right on
continue
the
that.
head.
Because if they don't, and they just have these kids that they were encouraged to have, and then they don't have the support, we're setting them up for failure.
Yeah, that's
And
not fair.
cool.
That's not fair to them.
That's
I'm
not right.
sorry,
It's,
but
and
it's not.
it's not fair
right.
for the kids either.
No, absolutely not.
And that's, and in my opinion, at the end of the day, that's the number one reason why this program is in place, and why it makes sense and why I
Yeah.
support it. It's because, like, yeah,
Well, what about like somebody like me? I don't receive SNAP food benefits, but not that I'm knocking it or anything. But I just, I don't qualify for it, so I don't receive it. Why should I be worried about this SNAP food shutdown?
well, it's going to have a ripple effect. Depending on how long this government shutdown lasts, it's going to have an effect on the economy. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers. I know it's like $40 billion or something like that is passed out.
$8 billion a month
$8
is
billion a month.
spent at the grocery stores from SNAP
From the
food
SNAP
benefits.
Okay, nationwide.
So nationwide.
Okay.
So $8 billion is going to go missing, and that's a
$8
month.
billion a
Every
month.
month, $8 billion a
So
month.
times 12, you're talking about almost $100
That's
billion
over. Yeah,
that's going to come out of the
100
economy.
billion. Come on.
That's going to have an effect
So
on the stock market.
as a business owner, they're going to want to jack up the prices. I feel like we're going to
that's
see
possible.
a drastically increased price in our groceries.
That's very
They're
possible.
already up 2.7% a year. I mean, I feel like they're just going to go up a lot more. People are going to
a very good
lose their minds. They're already going to be without food, without their SNAP food benefit. So they're going to be angry about that. And then the price is going up and the grocery store is possibly closing down.
right. If they're not
I
getting,
mean,
they're
it could be
missing
madness, y'all. This could be a really big thing happening. You don't
They're-
understand. There are 41.7 million Americans on these benefits.
Right.
And that's just all being taken away.
Yeah, there's no way that this doesn't have a very large ripple effect or
Yes.
cascading effect on things, not just the people not receiving those benefits, but the grocery stores that are used to having that revenue, the supply chains that normally support those items that will no longer be. There's going to be a lot.
There's more to it.
I really wish the government would. I understand there's some things that need to be changed in the program, but doing this the way that it's happening now, that's not the way to do it.
No.
Like, our government needs to come together and actually work on issues versus, oh, we're just going to shut the government down until somebody caves. That's not working together. That's not bipartisan conversations and coming up with solutions. That's just, oh, we're going to hold this hostage until we get our way. That's not the way things are supposed to work, and it's really, honestly, frustrating for me because we, over the past years, it's like we've gone farther and farther away from coming together and working together to find a solution that works for everybody. Now it's, oh, well, whoever's in power, they just strong arm everybody, and it's just, you guys get your way because you're in power.
Yeah.
And so versus working together to try to find a solution that's better, the best thing for everybody.
No,
which I'm
it's like
pretty
they
sure
want
that's the way
division
that it
with
was
everything.
supposed to be from the way they built the
Yeah,
system.
that's what our country is built on. I mean, come on.
Or was supposed to be built on.
Yeah,
Supposed
supposedly.
to be, yeah.
But yeah, with this
We'll see.
program being shut down, I'll put some links attached to the video about food pantries that are in the area. Definitely take advantage to whatever resources are out there. I know there's I saw in this video that there's like a lasagna where you can get online and apply for a lasagna meal, and you can even volunteer to make lasagnas. And I'll put the link in the comments too about that website. But they will mail you a lasagna.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure
so
there's going to be a lot
that's
of
pretty cool.
with organizations and
Yeah, there's gonna be-
nonprofits and stuff. Hopefully, and this is one thing that I back from my Army times, like, man, it was cool to see how the country came together to support soldiers when we were overseas.
Yeah.
And like that really meant a lot. Like, I mean,
like just
it,
writing
like,
letters,
just
like
writing letters,
any little thing.
sending,
I remember
sending care
doing that.
packages,
Yeah.
little things like that. I mean, it really meant a lot to us over there when there's not.
Because I remember doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I remember getting the letters, reading them from kindergarten, first grade, second grade. I mean,
Yeah, because I was in
Yeah.
fourth grade when you were
Yeah,
being
yeah.
sent overseas.
Yeah,
Crazy.
no, it's I think back to Hurricane Harvey and how the community came together to
did,
help each other
yeah.
out. So hopefully,
Because we had an issue with FEMA.
oh
FEMA
yeah,
was an
yeah,
issue.
yeah, for sure. Well, and the government's shutting down, and that's what's causing this situation. So hopefully, we see the
There was more help with
outpouring of
local-
community to help each other out through this
Yeah,
process. Hopefully, we see that.
Yeah, I'll definitely, keep an eye out open for the local
Yeah,
pantries and
right.
the local
Any
community
helpful information we
churches
can
and
pass
stuff
along,
like that.
yeah, we'll
But
put that in the
anything-
comments. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, for
And
sure.
hey, if you guys want to help out as well, we're here in the Houston area, so our information is going to be more geared towards this area. But if you don't have some time, you want to drop a link in the comments where you're from, might help somebody out that's watching the video and be able to take advantage of those resources also.
Yeah, that's great. Well, y'all tune in next time, and we will see y'all later.
See y'all.
Bye.